Hello everyone! In this short video I want to give you a little insight into how I choose and compose objects in my sketchbook, as well as how I depict texture and volume. I love to experiment with my drawings and want to share some information with you. Hope it will be helpful. I'll be using a simple mechanical pencil because it's convenient and doesn't need sharpening, and yes, I'm lazy. I'll also use markers by Marby and Micron. Most often I use sizes 02, 005 and 05. Usually when I work on a sketchbook spread, I like to place several different objects that are uniform but a single topic. Sometimes it's one animal drawn from many angles or just some of its parts. Other times I draw several elements close up so that they immediately catch the viewer attention. It can also be one drawing with many detailed elements to make it more interesting to explore. Let's create a spread like that together. This morning I took a walk by the sea and found some lovely shells and other adorable objects with interesting shapes and textures. Plants, stones, pieces of wood, flowers, all of this works for one topic. Here you can also see that I choose one large object and several smaller ones. I repeat some elements like mushrooms and snails. There are almost no straight lines, even in the tuk-tuk. Everything is rounded and flows. This creates unity and a consistent visual rhythm. For the shading, I use 005 marker. So let's arrange everything together on the page. Here is what the first stage looks like. I roughly place the objects without adding details. The spacing between them is about the same, with slightly more distance from the edge of the page. This makes the overall composition feel balanced. Next stage, refining the shapes of the objects. There still aren't any small details, but we can better to see how the objects work together. I've overlapped a few of them slightly to add more variety. Now we can move to outlining with a marker. Before starting, take a moment to observe the object and its texture. I will first show the drawing process in fast forward, then share some techniques I use. I outline the object with a thicker line to hold its parts together visually. I also emphasized the foreground and shaded the background parts of the wood to create shade, which gave it volume. Remember, we always draw the parts of the object closer to the viewer with more details. This shell has a beautiful texture. Since it's rounded, the lines will follow that curve in a kind of eyelash-like shape. We will draw both light and shadow. You can clearly see the volume because I used curved lines. I left the top area where the light hits untouched and used double shading at the bottom to make the shadow more dense. That's how we show form. I added a few light details, here the light is, just to make it visually more interesting. Our goal isn't to make an exact copy, we can always invent our own version. So far I'm using O2 marker. When drawing the plant, we won't detail every little seed, we only need to suggest the overall character. The second shell has a beautiful tiger-like pattern. We will try to make the stripes varied to avoid that I call the fence effect. It's also important to make the shading denser. Here the object goes into shadow. The thickest line is the outline of the shell. I added shading on the inner shell to give it an effect. We are using the most dark shading to show the inside part of the shell. Where the light hits, I used very light, barely visible shading and added stronger strokes toward the bottom. This is how we can see all the volume of the shell. There are some basic tips. Here's how the first page looks. Overall, it's nice, but it feels like there are a bit too much empty space between the objects. I want to add some small detail. I will use a 005 marker and draw them very thin and lightly. Just don't place them too close to the edge of the page, only in the gaps between objects. This part is all about imagination. I like to evenly sprinkle some stars, circles and swirls. It gives it playful mood. You can choose any decoration you want, depends on the mood of your drawing. We have finished the left side of the spread. If this video was helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel and let me know in the comments what else you'd like to learn about drawing. I'll be happy to share more. See you soon. Bye bye.